Okay, guys, hopefully we have time to get through this whole video before kids start rolling in. So let's talk about word problems. These word problems that are going to be on your quiz Thursday are not super duper challenging because it's just putting together the same exact steps, just deciding if you're going to add or subtract them. In some cases, we're going to see both in the same problem. That's not unreasonable to see in fifth grade word problems. So once we get really good at computation, meaning solving these problems, then we will really tackle the word problem part of it. All right, so Morgan's Rose Garden, that should be has, I bet I messed that up on all of them, has 3 types of roses, pink, red, and white. 1/10 of the roses are pink, 1/2 of the roses are red, and the rest of the roses are white. What fraction of the roses are white? Okay, so we are missing a piece of information. It says, and the rest of the roses are white. So it's not given to us, yet the problem says, or it asks, what fraction are white? So that means we're going to have to solve a little bit first. We're going to have to make sense of how many roses there are, or how many combined pink and red roses there are to find the difference for how many white roses. So let's start there. So the first thing I need to do is set up my fraction. See if I have some room over here. We're going to say 1/10 pink plus 1/2 red. I'm going to find your LCM, which I can do this one in my head because I know that 2 is a multiple of 10. So if you did that skip counting in your head, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you know that 2 is a multiple of 10. So we can just use that one. All right, so how many times bigger is 10 than 2? It is 5 times bigger. So that means I need to make my numerator 5 times bigger. Okay, I can just bring my numerator over here because remember we talk about how if the denominator didn't change, then that means the numerator is not going to change here. Okay, so we're going to save this space to find the LCM for the second step of this problem. So now I can solve the first step, which is 1/10 plus 5/10. And we get 1 plus 5 is 6, and the denominator stays the same. Okay, so now it says what fractions of the roses are white. So if I'm thinking about an entire garden, I know that 6/10 is now represents red and pink. I should put a plus sign there because that's and. Okay, so I need to figure out what is going to give me one whole garden, basically. So for one whole garden, we know that the garden would be represented as 10/10 because remember, whenever a numerator matches the denominator exactly, then it's equivalent to 1. Whenever we divide, if it's an improper fraction, let's say this was 100/10, and you did that division, which would say 100 divided by 10, then this would have the value of 10 whole gardens. But to represent one whole garden, we would represent that or write that as 10 out of 10. So to solve this problem, I need to figure out what 10 over 10 take away 6 over 10 would be. So I'm going to have to flip this. I wrote 6/10 here, but I'm going to erase it and set it up how we always set up subtraction problems, which is the larger number on top. So we're going to say 10/10, which is one whole garden, one whole rose garden. Take away 6/10, which is the red and pink. 10 take away 6 is 4. and my denominator stays the same. Okay, so the last step is to simplify. So we have 4/10. And I'm going to write down my 2, 3, 5, and 7 because that's great practice until I remember those numbers. And I'm going to start with the 2. Can I divide both 4 and 10 by 2? 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So yes, the answer is yes there. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Let me circle that so I remember I'm working with that. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So now I'm going to go down my list again. Can I divide to make sure I can't divide any further? Can I divide 2 by 2? Yes. Can I divide 5 by 2? No. So I'm not going to use that a second time. Cannot divide either of those by 3. Can only divide the denominator by 5 and neither by 7. So 2/5 is our simplified answer. So going back to make sure we answered the question correctly, what fraction of the roses are white? So that was my unknown information. The answer was 2/5 of the rose garden is white roses. All right, guys, I don't think we put any multiple step problems on that test. But just in case, I wanted to go over this with you and give you a few problems to practice just like this. If not, we will be using these when we move into multiplication and division, because then we'll be tying them all together, all of the operations, and only using word problems. So this is good practice either way. All right, guys, do the next few problems just like this.